watch movies like American Gangster where one guy from the street runs all the heroin in America, and he was the one that had the army shipping the drugs in the 60s and 70s. It was in congressional reports. It was the Joint Chiefs of Staff. It was banks. It wasn't Italian mafia or some black guy. Again, the fables are everywhere to sell us these lies. But the good news is people know about Fast and Furious. They know about Gulf of Tonkin to get us into Vietnam. They know about Northwoods. And they know about CIA aircraft crashing with drugs. And they know about election fraud in Florida. I don't like people like Al Gore, but facts are facts. The establishment said time for a change. The point is this stuff goes on. And now that people aren't so naive, we can have a debate about this and have a chance of turning it around. Do you agree with that statement, that analysis, that now people are more open to this so we can try to get some headway, Bev?
Oh, yes. There was a poll recently that said actually 70% of Americans just think elections are theater.
Yeah.
Which is about accurate. I don't know where the other 30% are that gullible, but yeah. That's about where it is at. It's theater, it's a pageant, but it's not particularly real. Yeah,
I saw one of 90 a few years ago, right before Obama got elected. People really thought it was a Republican-Democrat issue, so they were like, 90% or so, had questions about the integrity, but that kind of put people to sleep for a while, but they're waking back up.
Oh, yeah, there's no question, and that plays into the hands of the people who really do want to control things, is to be able to split people and get it was the Republicans who did it to one constituency, and another constituency they say, the Democrats are doing it. No, actually, both of them do that, but this does go higher. And it doesn't actually matter who gets in and becomes president. They're out of luck. They're going to have to play the game.
Well, they're all financed by the same offshore interest. And, again, it's that ending childlike gullibility and growing up. There is no Santa Claus, and we've got real criminals in charge. Yeah.
I mean, really, this started a long time ago. This started back in, 1950 when they started, saying, how are we going to get the United States completely dominant in global business? And one of the things, and this is actually in Freedom of Information documents, they built this national security infrastructure, but one of the things they were doing was they said, okay, how do we do this? How do we get the global, business community from the United States to be dominant worldwide? Well, one thing that's very handy for us, it's real, but it's just handy, is we can build a huge anti-communist thing, and the exact same arguments and tactics that we use to supposedly fight communism can be used to prop up the regimes that we want, to spread our global business anywhere we want. We can use exactly that. Well, then communism fell, and they had to start using some other rationales and also being more obvious. But basically, as I've been able to see from the documents, it goes to the national security infrastructure and to the Wall Street and the global elites, or the global financial elites. Yeah,
they've taken this country over, and then they say their world imperial agenda, which is enslaving us, and we're paying for it. they dress it up with this rotunda of American flags, and then we're supposed to just fall down and worship it. And the new communist threat is Al-Qaeda. And just like we now learn the communist threat was funded by the big mega banks, Al-Qaeda is funded, and they put Al-Qaeda in charge of Libya. And you bring this up to a good old boy, and they just say, I don't care. I'm scared of Al-Qaeda. I'll give my rights up.
Yeah. I mean, it's, I realized a while back, some years back, also when, I was having things happen to me that were pretty inappropriate in terms of investigations and so forth. I was like, wow, what have I really stepped in here? And it is true that we can deal with this to some extent at a local level and start grabbing things back and grabbing our rights back using, home rule and some of these other things. But I realized, we have an obligation to understand the bigger picture, because if we don't, we're never going to understand why they keep saying no to us.
No, that's right. We're run by a bunch of ruthless robber barons who think they control the entire universe. Before you leave us, I want to talk about what's coming up, the breaking stuff you've got in your new book, and hot spots we should watch around the country. Some of these voting machine companies are really out of control, but I want to go to some calls right now.
Sure.
from mainly folks in Iowa and other areas. Anita in Iowa, thanks for holding. You're on the air with Bev Harris of blackboxvoting.org. What did you see in Iowa?
Hi, Alex. God bless you. My husband and I live in Tipton, in Iowa, Cedar County. We went to the caucus last night for our Ward 1. There was 28 people present. We had to write our vote on a piece of paper, but we got to see the tally sheet, and we took pictures of it. And Ron Paul had 50% of the vote in our ward. The 28 people, there was 14 for Obama, I think 2 for Bachmann, and 3 for Gingrich.
You keep saying Obama. You mean Mitt Romney?
No. Same thing. Same thing. But overall, in our ward, everything was handled, other than we had to write it on a piece of paper. I also got up and made a speech about Ron Paul before the voting took place. I've been very involved. My husband and I both have been very involved in supporting Ron Paul. We also got elected as delegates to the county convention, and we're very excited about that. That's going to take place March 10th.
Well, good job. Good job, Anita. Sounds like your area did it the right way. Sean in Iowa, you're on the air with Bev Harris. Go ahead.
Yeah, hey, Alex. How you doing?
Good.
I'm a police officer out here, actually, also.
Oh, great.
And I had left work to go caucus for the first time ever. When I got there, I was a little surprised that I didn't need to have any identification of any kind.
Right.
They just asked me my name, and they actually got my name wrong on the sheet, and I had to argue with the guy, telling him, no, that's not me, you filled in the wrong box.
Yeah, that's the intel we're getting and trying to track back, that in many areas they were just letting anybody vote and that normally that's not the case. But you're saying, as a witness, you saw this.
Yes, they actually did it to me. He filled in the wrong bubble, and I told him, I'm sorry, you have that wrong. That's not me. And he said, no, that's correct, see? And I had to actually physically count down the list to show him that it was wrong. Had he just asked for an identification of some kind, that could have been alleviated. They allow people from out of state to be there, so who's to say that they don't go in the phone book and find someone in that district and just walk in?
My goodness.
Well, what does your gut tell you about them running off this year and saying we're going to count it in secret because Anonymous is going to hack it, and then the very individual that uploaded the original Anonymous video runs out to protest Ron Paul? I mean, boy, we can tell why Anonymous was there, can't we?
Yeah. Like, in my job, anything that's done in secret, you're probably not supposed to be doing it, so
Right.
There's probably something that's not on the up and up. So,
Right.
And as a person who really, honestly, I'm going to be stuck in the middle if it all goes down. So I went out and I had my voice known. And when I saw that Rick Santorum was taking the lead, I was kind of shocked by it. But
did you talk to anybody at your district? I mean, who were they going for?
There were a lot of Ron Paul people there. They had their stickers on and everything. I personally voted for Ron Paul. But, let's see, the turnout turned out to be about in the 20s for Santorum and Romney, and Ron Paul got about 16 votes, so he was number 3 in my...
That was in your, and again, what district were you in?
I'm in Scott County.
All right, anything else you'd like to add?
I would just say that, well, actually, I was watching Fox News, and they had something about the tally was at about 98%, and they were going on about a slow truck from Iowa State, from Ames, that hadn't been counted yet, and no one knew where it was, and this is taking so long. Yeah. If you go through Fox News last night, they were kind of joking about, hey, where's this truck at? Why are they taking so long?
We actually have Carl Rove. In fact, one of our reporters was trying to show it to me during the break, but I ran out of time 2 breaks ago, talking about missing trucks, missing missing precincts. I appreciate your call. I'm glad you raised that. Bev, what do you make of what he witnessed, where they weren't getting any identification or even confirming the names right. And then B, yes, it is true. Fox News did report that some of the precincts never showed up.
Right. Well, that's where we get back to the four things. Who can vote? Who did vote? Exactly. If you can control those two things, you can control it. So if you can bring some people in from somewhere else where they're not who they say they are.
Yeah, dead people voting in Chicago.
Exactly. These missing trucks, I'm looking right now at this report. Get this. Listen to this carefully. It said, in Clinton County, Rove said, a missing vote tally prompted observers from the Romney and Santorum camps to huddle together and agree on what the report totals should have been. And that's what they used. They didn't even use the real votes.
Oh, so now Santorum tells us, wow, yeah, I've got reporters trying to flag me all day about this. I'm going to have to obviously collate it for the next hour or tonight's nightly news. But, I mean, it's always like this. It takes time for the dust to settle. Right,
exactly. And that's where you get this chain of custody. So, voting machines are crucial because they conceal the counting. But these other three areas, chain of custody, who can vote, who did vote, any one of the four can steal you an election, and that's why we have to be able to see what's going on every step of the way.
Wow. Yeah, so you're getting the reports in that they just agreed what it would be. I mean, I'm just telling you, my gut, unfortunately, is never really wrong. I can misinterpret what my gut's telling me, but it's always accurate. I mean, I just smell stinking rat under the floorboards. Something is rotten in the state of Denmark here on every level, and you've got these Republican operatives on TV and radio saying, don't worry, the party officials know how to fix it. They're so arrogant. You've got this long history of it going on. You have missing trucks and all of this. It does not sound, you've got them counting it in secret, Bev. I mean, you add all this together.
And here's my question. See, this is all a magic show. What does a truck have to do with it, actually? Because they're supposed to count at the caucus location and report it publicly at the caucus location and then call it in to the headquarters or fax it in. Why is there even a truck?
Yeah, that would mean they were taking them to the place to be counted. Oh, it doesn't sound good.
Oh, no, you don't want to be driving things around in the trunks of cars, period, or trucks, because that's when...
And then they're also saying some precincts just never reported anything. That's on Fox News.
Oh my goodness. It's crazy. So that's where you get into chain of custody. And that's what I had written before we even started into this. I think this article's still up as the lead story, that in Iowa... the narrowing of the funnel, the wide end of the funnel being everyone can see it, the narrowing of the funnel happens with chain of custody in the Iowa caucus, and that's when... Well,
that's where you always get at Enron and everywhere. It's that executive controller fraud level. It's the top person.
Right. It's where only a few people can see it. When everyone can see it, they're and what people are fooled time and time again, they'll go, I was there and it was really open and it looked pretty good. And what they do, it's like the Amazing Randy, don't look there, look here, yes. And they want you to feel really good because it's all out in the open. But if at any point in the election process that narrows and all of a sudden you can't see what they're doing, just exactly as your caller said, when something is done in secret, it's not going to be good.
Wow, let's talk to Clay in Iowa, and then we'll go to Julio and Chris, both in Illinois. Clay, you're on the air with Bev Harris. So what'd you see?
Hi, Bev. Hi, Alex.